Hi, I'm Patty Olinger, the Executive Director of GBAC, and with me today is...
Dave Maurer with CPI.
Dave is the owner of the CPI Innovation Center, which is a center that is dedicated to training for the cleaning industry. And it is the GBAC Academy physical site where we do a lot of training. And every time I go up there, I learn a lot about microfiber and how I have screwed up my microfiber over the last year. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit, and I'm going to have Dave explain to me how to keep my microfiber safe. So the first thing going up there, actually, Dave actually has one of the microfibers that is a GBAC registered technology. And, it's like, wow, it's got little prickles on it. And I learned what that meant and why that's important and how it, picks dirt and grime and germs up. But then the other part was that the first thing that I'm learning is he says, and don't wash it and dry it in the normal laundry. And I'm like, okay, guess I screwed that bunch up. Better get some more microfiber. Next time I go up there, I learned that don't use fabric softener. There needs to be a manual with this. So I'm thinking, okay, I love this microfiber, but now I can't use it with the fabric softener. And then I learned that some of the detergents that are out there, of course, if you look at the label, has fabric softener in as well. And most recently, is don't use a quat with your microfiber because there's something called quat loading that happens. So Dave, I realize that I really support the industry by buying more microfiber all the time.
That's how we work, Patty. We only tell you one thing at a time. We keep you coming back.
Tell me how I can keep my microfiber safe.
These are all great things that we hear in the Innovation Center when we're doing training. But one of the things that with microfiber, because those little prickly things you talked about with our trio split technology, they love to grab things. And that's the great thing about microfiber. As we clean surfaces, they grab bacteria, viruses. That's the great thing we've learned. And as you mentioned, the STAR registration, that's why we have STAR registration, because we remove 99.9% bacteria and particles from surfaces. But the downside is we also pick up lint. So as it's going through the laundry cycle and you have microfiber in with all of your regular laundry, as you pull out your lint trap, you see a lot of lint in that. Microfiber loves that, and it grabs it. So that's why you do not want to mix these two together. So whenever you're laundering microfiber, do it by itself. Just microfiber all together, and your cotton goes in a different load. All right, you got that?
I got that.
I'm going to test you on that later, okay? Or we can just keep supplying you more microfiber. That's all right too. The other with fabric softener, as you mentioned, all of these little splits love to grab things, and there is a charge in microfiber. When we split it, it creates a positive charge. Okay, and fabric softener is a negative charge. Those two things love each other. So if you put liquid fabric softener in your laundry, and these are going through your wash cycle, agitating around, the fabric softener is going to attach to those little splits that you feel with your fingers, and it's very difficult to come out. And a good way to see that is if you put one of these in laundry or in your dryer with a bounce sheet, every single time, 100% of the time, a bounce sheet will be wrapped up in here. It's a good trick if you want to get the bounce sheet out of your sheets. Instead of getting in bed and you say, oh, there's my bounce sheet, 100% of the time it will be in this cloth. That's because the fabric softener attaches to here. The positive and negative charge attract each other. Okay, so the bounce sheet doesn't hurt microfiber because it's not liquid. Liquid fabric softener is what hurts microfiber because it gets in the wash cycle in these little splits. Very difficult to get out.
Yeah, and the biochemist in me actually understands that.
Yes.
Yeah, so I get that.
And as you mentioned, a lot of detergents now have fabric softener infused in it. So a lot of people like yourself didn't even know. You're like, well, I'm not pouring liquid fabric softener in my laundry. It was in your Tide or whatever type of detergent you're using. Okay? So the other is heat. That we don't want to have excess heat in microfiber because those little splits get fused together. So mostly in the dryer, In home washing, you're not going to get too hot of a temperature because it doesn't go that hot. But in commercial laundries, you can get too hot of water, over 200 degrees. The same in laundry for the dryer. So we don't want to have too hot of dry air because it'll start fusing together again over 200 degrees.
And this is something that I do realize. It's because microfiber is made out of plastics, so it melts.
Yeah, and that's a great point. Is microfiber, one microfiber's 1/100th the size of a human hair, so we can't see it. We split that little fiber trio split and wind them together. So these are a bunch of millions of plastic little fibers that fuse together. So you mentioned quat binding or quat loading.
Yes, that's the latest one.
Yes, that is. So as the pandemic, we're using a lot more disinfectants. A lot of people are using quats. Quats are great for what they do in disinfecting. They're not good for surfaces when we misuse those, especially over concentration. And we know people like a little bit is good. Guess what?
A lot is better.
A lot is really good.
Which isn't the truth.
Yeah, so one of the things our trio split is it does not quat load. Okay, most microfiber does. So you can pour a quat through here and test underneath. We'll see this in here. If we pour some over the fiber and we test underneath here with a pH strip, we'll see that we're still getting the full efficacy of quat. Okay, so what quat loading is when you load your fiber up and you're cleaning your surface with this loaded fiber with quat on it, the quat stays in the fibers. Okay, that's what quat loading or quat binding is. Okay, the quat doesn't want to get out of the fabric, just like fabric softeners.
So the moral of the story is if I'm using quats and I'm going to buy my microfiber, I need to talk to the manufacturer or look at the manufacturer to make sure that it doesn't, that it allows for it to be used with quats. Sort of like read the label.
Binds. Yeah, exactly. That's read the label on the microfiber. Maybe we need to put "does not quat bind" on our label.
Right.
That could be good. But if it does quat bind as you clean your surface, the quat's not getting to the surface, so you're not disinfecting. You're in the fiber, so you're disinfecting the fiber. That's not what we want. We want to make sure it gets down into the surface. So that's what quat loading is all about. Okay, so great education. Next time you come to the Innovation Center, I'm going to find one more thing.
We'll find one more thing that we'll have to bring back to let people know. But what we're finding is that people want to know more about how we clean and rethinking clean. Cleaning for health is so important. And so learning how to use your equipment, your chemistries, the technology which if there's a silver lining from this pandemic, and if you were here at the ISSA show today, you would see the amazing technologies that are now starting to come out on the market. That is exciting. And so we need to rethink how we clean, and we need to start doing it right.